You gotta do your clap thing.
I mean, I might as well at this point. Anyways,
I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Andy,
I'm Jenna.
I'm Adam.
and this is Untitled.
So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We've got two guests. I know that we don't have that many videos on right now to kind of distinguish what's different and what's not. But we're going to do a round table or half a
Crescent
semicircle table.
So we're going to be talking about the first films that we watched that went against convention in a major way and changed the way we looked at film.
So Scream, for those of you who don't know, is about these two high schoolers who are so obsessed with slasher movies from the 70s and 80s that they attempt to emulate the formula of the horror movie. Whenever I was a kid, the things that I picked up on immediately were the subversion that that the film creates with having this likable character in the boyfriend being the villain. You know, you even have the scene where he gets killed, where
Yeah.
Ghostface kills him, and
he's like, "See, I told you I wasn't the killer,"
Which really proved.
which really proved that he wasn't the killer.
It shocked me, and I remember really enjoying it too. This was a horror movie that was unlike anything else I'd ever seen. It was genuinely funny in a lot of parts. It had suspense, and while it was playing this game of being meta, it still found a way to kind of shock the audience and put them on their toes because it was knowingly trying to, establish the rules of the horror movie in this universe and reminding the viewer that, hey, you're watching a horror movie, but then it would turn around and it would flip those rules on its head. As I got older, I was able to understand that the slasher genre was was becoming pretty stagnant with direct-to-video sequels. Jason Takes Manhattan. I don't think it was direct-to-video, but it should have been. But with Scream, they reinvented the genre, and it kind of ruined horror films after that for a while because other studios started trying to emulate the success.
I Know What
that
You Did
Scream
Last
had.
Summer.
I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Urban Legend.
And even with the Chucky movie, it tried to add a lot of humor into its script, and it ended up just being some weird gory comedy. It was kind of off, tonally just off.
But what it did open the door for, though, was for more realistic horror. It opened an opportunity for you to actually experience a horror movie where you're like, oh my gosh, that could happen, and those are the movies that scare me.
Like less supernatural movies.
Yeah.
Like Strangers.
Joyride.
Strangers. I didn't watch Joyride. There was one.
Need my candy cane.
Strangers horrifies me.
I haven't seen it yet.
They're doing a sequel for that one too.
It's out.
Oh, it's already out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh,
No,
my
there
bad.
was one about a babysitter who gets attacked while she's babysitting, and it's in this beautiful house. And I'm like, I babysit. This could happen to me. So that's
It's literally me.
yeah, it's literally me. But so that was something that I appreciated. Was it opened the door for things that could really happen to be horrifying.
So next movie, what are we talking about?
All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Go to Heaven.
All Dogs Go to Heaven. Okay, so it's the late 1930s. A gangster is working with his partner, and he decides, I'm going to retire. His partner says, "Okay, I'll give you 50%."
Oh, are you talking about the movie?
I'm talking about the
Oh,
movie.
okay. I don't remember
50%
this
of the
movie.
casino earnings. Then he gets Charlie,
A
main
movie
character.
about dogs.
Yes, gets him drunk, gets him sloppy drunk, puts him at the end of a pier.
This is a kids movie?
Lets go of a car. The car hits him. You watch the car hit him. He's knocked into the water.
I don't think I've ever seen
Goes
this.
to
No.
heaven, escapes heaven, and plots revenge on his former partner by kidnapping an orphan child, promising her, "Oh, we're going to help the poor. We're going to find you parents." And he just goes through all this. And this
That's
is a children's
dark.
movie. Meanwhile, there's this orphan child watching all this happen. She catches pneumonia, and then there's an oil fire, and the dog sacrifices himself to save the little girl. And
Is this when he goes to heaven?
yes, that's when he earns his place back in heaven because he was going to go to hell. This was terrifying. This is fear, torture, no escape. The devil dragon thing is genuinely frightening. It's awful. You should see All Dogs Go to Heaven too. It's a he gives him a special horn.
So they made one
That's
film.
weird.
They made one film, and they managed to sneak in more dog help.
So All Dogs Go to Heaven
it makes sense for the
2
cat.
is just him like helping a little boy who wants to be a magician and trying to get with some girl dog.
Question.
Yes.
Why would you watch the sequel?
It's a good question. Fair play. Fair play.
Well, this was one of those movies that didn't cost as much as a Disney movie, and so
So was it DreamWorks? Or
No,
was that-
it's Don Bluth. They also did American Tail and
okay.
Which was great.
Because he was
Which
he was
was
an
great.
original. He was one of the original animators for Disney. Then he left the
Yeah.
company.
There was that short time in the late '80s,
Yeah.
'90s where they were competing.
Yeah.
And
Was
so
that,
Little
did he
Mermaid
do
was
Oliver
made.
and Company?
No, Disney did
No.
Oliver and
Disney.
Company.
But he
Okay.
did Secret of Nim, which was
Mhm.
another option for
Oh,
me
that was-
because it was nightmarish as well. You watch, a mouse get stabbed through the back and through
Oh,
the neck,
yeah.
you see the blood and everything. I'm like, this is
Wait,
a great thing
did-
to show your kindergarten class.
Did you also watch Watership
Mr.
Down?
Bluth, you have some explaining to do.
Only as an adult, and I knew that Watership Down was going to be awful.
That's rough as an adult. Even if you know what
Jeez.
you're in for. Golly.
Let's go to the next movie.
Next movie!
Casablanca.
Casablanca.
I don't know if that's gonna be any better.
It is going to be better.
I'll make
I've
it
seen
better.
it. It's going to be better.
I'll make it better, as long as no one's like lovelorn or anything right now. 1940s occupied or about to be occupied Morocco, Casablanca. So pretty much we have it's a really good love story between the main character Rick and then his long lost love Ilsa, who they run into each other in a club. A lot of times with movies that are about love, you usually end up having the guy get the girl. So this was probably one of the first movies where you see two love interests who absolutely love each other, but Rick actually decides on either being selfish and pursuing Ilsa and being able to run away with her, or being selfless, allowing her to leave with her husband at the end because he knew that was for the better good.
But, it's funny because it did change. It did absolutely change a typical love story, but it also became timeless.
Yeah. Yeah.
It became the ultimate love story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Self-sacrifice, which is what, a lot of times that's what men are expected to do is a version of self-sacrifice. And so it, like you said, usually the good guy gets the girl, but in this case the good guy, in order to be the good guy, sacrifices for the girl. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
bringing that all together.
So there's kind of two things about Titan E. So Titan E is about a movie where this little boy, his dad is the scientist that builds this ship called Titan E, and the Earth is about to be attacked by an alien life force called the Dredge, and so the father actually sends the kid away, and the father pilots this ship into space, and he ends up dying. But so one of the things that I really loved about the movie was like with Roger Rabbit, it did live action and cartoon animation. Well, this movie was at least the first movie that I saw that blended CGI with cartoon, which created an amazing effect for the aliens, and it created an otherworldly, very great effect for the aliens. So that was really cool, and it was the first time I saw somebody be creative for the sake of storytelling. That's the first time it really stuck out to me that they did something that was going to be a lot harder and a lot more difficult to do for the whole movie, but they did it because it fit the story specifically. They needed these people, they needed the Dredge to look otherworldly, and they really accomplished that by blending CGI and cartoon. As far as cartoon movies go, I had never seen one with such a violent scene. There's a scene where this dog, human hybrid looking thing, he betrays everybody. Well, one of the main people, he goes up behind him, grabs him by the neck, snaps it, and throws him downstairs like a little
like a rag doll.
Like a rag doll.
Well, what was so sad is this movie came out before it would. I guess people were ready for it because it didn't get popular until later. It
ended up getting popular?
Okay, I like it, so in my head
Cult
it's popular.
classic.
Yeah, it's like
That movie definitely deserves a larger following than it currently has.
It's a weird it's a weird movie to kind of classify because it's a cartoon, but even more so than All Dogs Go to Heaven, which I feel was really marketed as a kid's cartoon still, even with all the demonic, twisted horribleness in it. Titan AE has a lot of adult content in it. Like I think Drew Barrymore's character is actually nude whenever you're first introduced to her.
In the shower.
Yeah, but
they don't show any. No, but I mean, I'm just saying that
it's very tasteful.
Yeah, there's material in it that wouldn't be seen in a regular kids movie. So it's one of those animated films that I think falls more towards the doesn't really have an appropriate audience.
Coming to think about putting it up against something like a Marvel movie, I don't really see how it's like a kids movie.
Right.
But it did seem marketed towards kids. Maybe because it was a cartoon.
Yeah, I think that's
at
one
the time,
reason.
cartoons were all for kids.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody that it was meant for was going to go see it. People in their late teens to early 20s would have been a good market for that movie, but they're like, oh, it's a kid's
It was
movie,
ahead of
I'm
its
gonna go
time.
see it.
All of these movies I have to go watch now because I'm like super interested.
Start with Titan AE.